We have the thing called Zoo Ventures, which is our version of Shark Tank. Can you add a QR code so people can just kid it? She did it like 10 minutes and she came back within 10 minutes going, can I do more? And that's the mindset I'm trying to create. When they get done, I want more. I want to do more. And that's why culture is so important.
If you're a servant leader, you're bowing down and taking care of your people. But the bottom line is, if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of anybody else. You will spend so much time worrying about everybody else that you'll actually become hopeless at your job.
If your people see you doing the things that you're asking them to do, they want to do more of it. Again, if you're doing the things that you expect your people to do and you're doing it and they see you doing it, they want to do it. They want to replicate
That's leadership by example though, right?
Welcome to Unbreakable Leadership, no-nonsense podcast for leaders who want real-world lessons. I'm Peter Pollock, and with over 30 years of military and corporate leadership, I'm here to share struggles, successes, and practical advice that actually works. We'll look at real leadership stories that matter, focusing on attention, integrity, and growth through failure. Let's get started.
All right, welcome to the podcast, Unbreakable Leadership. I got my first actually civilian guest today. So, woohoo, push it up or whatever you do. So Steve Harden and I met each other through a company that we both worked with over in India. And then Steve reached out to me, and I'm actually literally so thankful that he reached out to me because we had developed a friendship. And I'm going to get to meet him here real soon when I go to California for a triathlon. And go up and see him and present at his college and stuff like that. But Steve, welcome. Do me a favor and take 2-3 minutes, introduce yourself, tell me where you're from, where you grew up, background, tell me about your dad because he's a stud, and then how you got into doing what you're doing.
Well, that's a big question. You said I have 35 minutes for my answer?
You have 35 minutes for your answer.
I'm going to talk about where I am today, where I've been, and what I hope to do in the future. Today, I'm literally sitting at Azusa Pacific University, a small Christian university just east of Pasadena here in LA, and it's going to be sunny and 78, which is pretty typical here. I will tell you, I'm in my 2.5 year, and I'm loving it here. I'm teaching 2 different courses, one on entrepreneurship, one on public relations and brand.
Excellent.
But that's the reason why I'm doing that is because what I've done for the last almost 40 years. Okay. I'm a consumer packaged goods guy. I've spent 37 years working for brands that GlaxoSmithKline, the pharmaceutical company, 10 years. Adidas, I got called by a recruiter to join the Adidas brand. I was at Adidas for 13 years. VF, the makers of Vans, Timberland, JanSport, and the North Face for 3. And it transitioned to Oakley. Yes, I still wear my Oakley Metas.
I know, I noticed that, right? I had to zoom in once, and I actually noticed you wear Oakley, which is really cool.
I love the Oakley brand. And then I became the CEO of a small brand called K-Swiss Global Brands, which is 3 different brands, K-Swiss, Palladium, and Supra. We sold them to private equity after 4 years. And then I thought I was so darn good. A buddy of mine and I started a brand called Action Footwear, and everything was great. We raised $2 million. We're off to the races. We get our first shoe. We sold almost 2,000 pair, and we're making money. And then COVID hit, and the money dried up. Containers were costing us $2,500 to get from Shenzhen, China, all the way to the port of LA. They went from $2,500 to $2,800 per container to $40,000. You do the math. You bring in 10 containers, and it just robbed us blind.
Wow!
And so we ran out of money. We were able to coast through COVID and got tens of thousands of customers across the country, but our supply chain was very, very slow because of COVID.
Yeah.
And then we wound up selling the IP and the global trademarks to private equity. I was able to pay off 70% of our investors and walked away and decided, now what do I want to do? So that's when I sat down and wrote my bestseller novel, Surpass Your Limits.
I've read that. It's a great book.
It's a fun, easy read. It's my 37 years. The subtitle is Navigate Your Way Through Corporate Life and Thrive. And the ups, the downs, all the good, the bad, the ugly. And then I was approached by the dean of the business.
Hey, don't use the name of my book. I copyrighted that. Don't say good, bad, the ugly. That's my book, man. That's my book.
But did you see, I signed the agreement that I'm allowed to use that in my...
Shit, I didn't get you to sign an NDA, man.
But I had time, so I created a brand, a business brand and leadership consultancy. I got 3 or 4 clients from referrals. And then the dean of the business school goes, hey, Steve, you're a consultant now. You've got time. would you have any interest in becoming an adjunct professor?
Right.
So I quickly said, of course. And that was 3.5 semesters later. And now I'm here teaching 2 different courses and loving life. I still have 4 consulting clients. I just signed a big client. So I'm working full time, but I'm kind of bifurcated. I mean, I'm doing a little bit here, a little here, and I'm traveling the country and just loving life.
That's good. That's awesome. You're staying busy, man. You're going to stay busy for the next 20 years. If I know anything about Steve Harden, you're going to stay busy for the next 20 years, man. You are not going to stop. And I think that's awesome. Just quickly, your background, your dad was a retired Master Chief, correct, from the Navy?
Good memory. Yes. And that's what I think that's what, when you introduced me as the first non-military person speaking on your podcast, I was raised by a chief master sergeant, Master Chief. I feel like I was in the military, right?
You were by default.
Traveled all over the world.
Yeah.
Life. I'd only applied in my senior year in high school. I was going to the Naval Academy. I only applied to one school, the Naval Academy. And literally on my 18th birthday, I got the rejection letter. So I got friends going off to Stanford and USC, UCLA. Yeah. And I went to Modesto Junior College because of my rejection at the Naval Academy. And I literally thought I was an abject failure. I didn't get accepted in the college of my choice. And now with, looking backwards almost 40 years, I'm glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Things happen for a reason, man. You know that. You believe that.
That's exactly right. But as you well know too, Peter, it's a lot clearer looking backwards. As you're in it, I thought my life was over at 18. Yep.
And absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. You have a great story, Steve. Let me ask you some questions. You've led some iconic global brands and also fought personal health battles.
That's right.
How have those professional and personal challenges shaped your definition of leadership? Because this whole podcast is about leadership and failures and successes and how you rise from them. But I really want to know about you, what your definition of leadership is in the corporate world and where you failed and how you overcame that. Talk to me, man.
Big question. Okay, the name of the book is Surpass Your Limits. The subtitle is Navigate Your Way Through Corporate Life and Thrive. But I pay particular attention to Chapter 4. Yep. And Chapter 4 is How to Navigate Through Poor Leadership and Win, a comprehensive guide for future leaders.
Yep.
I know I've shared with you, Peter, throughout my career, I've reported to 13 different people.
Yep.
Of those 13 people, 10 were abject failures. Terrible. Yep. 2 were okay. Only 1 was exceptional. And David Orr was the only one in my book that I used by name, the exceptional one. I will share with you, I probably learned as much or more from the terrible bosses to help refine me to be the leader that I am today.
Absolutely learn what not to do from those bosses. Yep.
Exactly. And I have to tell you, I hate people, not just bosses, but I hate people in general that are kings and queens of do as I say, not as I do. Yeah. They want you to go win this battle, go take this hill, go do this, but they've never done it. Yeah. Or you ask for some coaching, a little of assistance, and it's like, no, just get it done. Damn it, that's your job. Go do it. And I'm a go kind of a person. I mean, you give me a little bit, and I'm gonna go take it. But as you're 25, 28, 20, 30, you're trying to learn and grow. And I just had some really terrible. I mean, we're talking unethical, immoral, just not good people. And I always said to myself, if I get the opportunity to lead people, I'm going to be the opposite of that. And I have to hit pause. And I've told you this is, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but my father was the same way. My father, when he was sober, was the best man. I wanted to be exactly like my dad. Yeah. And then also he was a functioning alcoholic. And unfortunately, I was half to 2/3 of his life. And he was a terrible human being. Yeah. And so I lived that as an adolescent.
Yeah.
In my corporate life, I have a very strong BS meter, and I just know it, and I try to run as fast and as hard as I can away from crap like that.
You have kids, right? I grew up trying to. I'm still trying to teach my kids about that bullshit meter. It's absolutely true. It happens. You got to have a gut feeling, right? Sometimes your gut says, this is not good.
So true. Yes.
Yeah, run. You should run. Steve, you said something in there that is a one-to-one transfer to the military. You said, do as I say, not as I do. What we say in the military is lead by example. you cannot expect your people to do stuff that you're not willing to do yourself. So get out there, do it, man. Yeah, no, lead by example. It's very simple.
I totally agree with your statement, but why is that the antithesis? That most people don't do that, and it's the
No, they don't.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's not that difficult. Just lead by example. Don't stop telling everyone to do everything that you're not willing to do yourself. Like taking that hill that you would never do that. No, lead the charge, right? And we've all known great military leaders and great civilian leaders who've led the charge, right? So they're the ones you want to work for. Let me move on to my next question. After decades in executive roles and brand turnarounds, what prompted you to shift to early stage entrepreneurship and specifically Harden Strategic Solutions? Why was that your calling at the end, Harden Strategic Solutions? Talk to me about that, Steve.
I will tell you, throughout my career, I've always made really good money. So if that was the measure of success, I was successful. Yeah. I was getting promoted. And this is going to sound cheeky, Peter, but I've worked for multi-billion-dollar brands. I mean, Adidas is a $30 billion brand. Oakley is a $3 billion brand. I've been very successful at that. And I've when I was at Oakley, I literally managed $2.8 billion in revenue. And I did well financially, but the company and my higher ups made like ridiculous money, millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, I love working in the corporate world. I love building a career. But if I ever had the opportunity, if I had my mortgage was in the right spot, all my bills and everything was taken care of, I always had the dream of doing something on my own. Yes. And when COVID hit, we sold Action. I didn't have anything to fall back. I had savings to fall back. I had my retirement, but I took 6 months and wrote my book. And I thought to myself, I'm gonna hang a shingle. I'm gonna see if anybody responds. Yeah. And I created Harden Strategic Solutions, and literally within 2 months, I had 4 different brands that reached out to me, again, organically or from referrals. And that wasn't easy street, because 2 of them still are just equity only, and 2 of them I'm getting paid. I've just recently signed somebody. I've been doing Harden Strategic Solutions now for a year and 8 months, so almost 2 years. And I'm just now at the point where I've replaced my corporate salary. So that makes me feel good. And I own my time. That was the other thing too.
And you report to nobody.
That's right. The
other for yourself.
In the corporate world, you technically you work 40 hours. As the president of a brand, you're putting in 80 to 100 hours a week, traveling the planet. And part of that is cool and sexy. And then you miss birthdays and anniversaries enough. And you go, I want to do something for myself. And no different than the military, because you were assigned, you went to Afghanistan.
I equate that to deploying. Yeah,
exactly. So it's way different, but kind of maybe similar.
Yeah.
And
no, it's the same. Time away from family is time away from family, man.
And this is going to sound cheeky too, Peter. As a consultant, I get to choose who I do business with. Oh. And for me at my career level, that's really important. I want to do business. I've turned away consulting clients because we weren't a match. They were very autocratic, and I tend to be. I can be autocratic when the situation calls for it. But I think I have a very high EQ, very empathetic, and I want to feel people's pain point, and then I want to be able to get out in front and lead the way, show the way. And I've shared this with you before. I use the F word a lot. But my F is not what you're thinking or what most people think. My F word is fun.
It's not my F word. I grew up in Australia. It's not my F word. My F word's like the secondary language for me. But anyway.
But I try to make business fun. Yeah. And now as a consultant, I get to do business with people that I want, that I like. I want to do business with. And that's
I love it.
Big difference. And also being a consultant, I get to fly to I'm going to Indianapolis with my wife tomorrow to celebrate our grandson's 1-year-old birthday. Nice. And then I'm in Northern California with my sons and daughters. And it's just, I get to go where I want, when I want. Yeah. And that's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
And if I could add one more thing, Peter, teaching at APU, I'm in touch with, 18 to 26-year-olds. And I got to tell you, it's keeping me young.
Yeah. It absolutely does.
I love dealing with them, pouring into their hearts and minds for the future. I'm creating future leaders, and I must be at least halfway good at it, because the feedback I get has just been overwhelming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really good. And I'm really looking forward to coming out at the end of March to actually meet these guys that you work with. And
you're going to love it.
And you suck some of that energy that they have, right?
Right.
So I'll probably be half dead after my swim. But anyway, I'll pretend like I'm up on stage and talking. And you can
there you go.
Hey, can you say something?
You've connected with Brent?
Yes. Connected with Brent. I will meet with Brent while we're up there. So everything. My time at Azusa Pacific is already taken up by so many things.
I know.
So anyway, okay, let's move on. One team and everyone sells mindset. So you talk about a one team concept and an everyone sells mindset. What do these phrases mean to you in practice? And why are they so central to sustainable growth, Steve?
Well, there's a direct military application. The one team is a lot of companies, and I'm sure a lot of branches of the military have silos.
Yep.
You do this, you're security, you're
all
this.
Around.
In business, there's sales, there's product development, there's marketing, there's leadership, all these silos. And typically when I walk into a company, the silos are so tall and so thick, and everybody points the finger, and very little gets done.
Yep.
So I said that's BS. Everybody's got to be on. We got to establish the North Star. Where are we going? Well, and every department has to agree that's where we're going, right?
Yep.
And then create your program and your plans that get us there. I'm a big person of that. And then a lot of times, sales it always gets there. If you miss your target, it was sales. They didn't work hard enough, or they didn't identify their goals. They didn't identify their target market. And my thinking is, if your sales starts at the leadership level, from the top to the bottom, marketing, product, that everybody should be so sales focused that everybody is talking about the brand or whatever the mission is you're doing. Everybody should be mindful.
And that's the one team mindset.
Most companies that I've worked for, it very silo driven, and everybody points to sales, waiting for the thing. I have this one picture. Think of a roaring lion, big old mane, just gnarly. And the caption is, "Everybody wants to be the lion until it's time to hunt." And
I've actually read that somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's in your book, right?
Yep. And I love it. Everybody wants to be, I am alpha male or alpha female. I'm the greatest. And it's like, when shit hits the fan, are you really doing the right things? Are you saying the right things? And often, too many times, that's not the case. So that's where one team and everyone sells.
Lots of noise.
Lots of noise. Yes.
Yeah, lots of this, man. Why does culture beat strategy, man?
Because that angst, that just the stomach issue you get Sunday afternoon as you start thinking about going to work on Monday.
Yep.
And I want to remove that. I want people to be expect like, oh, dude, I got to do this and that on Monday, and I got to get that done by Friday. Again, expect it. And culture is what removes that angst. It's the culture, the team. And I just got off a call with one of my new consulting clients, Recor Group out of Eagle, Idaho. And their CEO said it best. We got all done with our hour-and-a-half meeting, and he wanted to spend 15 minutes on mindset. And mindset, I'll read the note. This is crazy. I've never heard a CEO say stuff like this, but he talked about love yourself first.
Yep.
Commitment to yourself first. Prioritize yourself. And the way he articulated and explained himself, so I don't want to make everything easy, but I know if you take care of yourself, you can then take care of your team. I, as the CEO, want you to take care of yourselves. This is the leadership team, our 5 leadership. And what a beautiful message.
Yeah.
Now, go nurture, go take care of your people, because then, and that's culture. And yeah, I've had
I'm going to go down a rabbit trail on this, but keep going.
The 10 leaders that I called abject failures in my career were very autocratic, do as I say, not as I do. And the culture it sucked. It was terrible. The one guy, David Orr, who made it so fantastic, was the first guy to put the backpack on. Let's go. We're going up that hill. We're gonna talk to these customers. We're gonna do that. And you just that type of culture breeds team. It makes you want to do more, not less. I have a marketing student here. My ideas. She's only a sophomore, but she acts like she's 3 years into her career. She's phenomenal. I gave her something. I gave her a to-do list yesterday. I said, we have the thing called Zoo Ventures, which is our version of Shark Tank. I said, can you add a QR code so people can just kid it? She did it like 10 minutes, and I praised her like crazy to 4 or 5 different professors. And she came back within 10 minutes going, Professor Harden, can I do more? And that's the mindset I'm trying to create. When they get done, I want more. I want to do more. And when the culture's bad, oh my God, they hide. They don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why culture is so important.
Yeah. So let me go down a rabbit hole on this. You mentioned taking care of yourself, right? And the mindset, right? Because I truly believe if you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anyone else, right? And you've seen in my LinkedIn posts that I'm sick and tired of this bullshit language that people use. And it's full of fluff and people post nice things and stuff like that. And they look like they're 25 years old and they get like 1,000 comments. And then I post something or you post something that's like ridiculously experienced, legit stuff. And we get like 3 likes and 2 comments and 1 repost. Anyway, so what came to me is the new term servant leadership, right? I personally do not like the word servant because there's a connotation to that, and right. I don't necessarily agree with that word. And it's talking about mindset. To me, if you're a servant leader, you're bowing down and taking care of your people. Now that may be extreme interpretation of what servant leadership is, but the bottom line is, if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of anybody else. You will spend so much time worrying about everybody else that you'll actually become hopeless at your job. What do you think of that, Steve?
I totally agree. And I would balance the servant piece this way. Because I hear what you're saying, because servant is like subservient. You're Yes. Simon Sinek, he wrote a book called Leaders Eat Last. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen that book.
Yep. It's a popular saying in the military.
But it's true. If your people see you doing the things that you're asking them to do, they want to do more of it. If they see you get in line to feed yourself after the whole team, if you're opening doors, again, if you're doing the things that you expect your people to, and you're doing it, and they see you doing it, they want to do it. They want to replicate.
That's leadership by example, though, right? So if you go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning and work out, guess what? Your people are going to start doing that, right?
That's exactly right.
So in a way, you're serving them by setting the example. So yeah, I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that.
And you know this too, Peter. Negative information travels way faster and way wider than 100%. Good. So I want to be caught doing good things. Yeah. I want to get caught people seeing me doing the things I ask them to do.
Yep.
Whether it's research or going to the gym, I want people to see me doing that, because what is character? It's what you do when nobody's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. We call it integrity. You guys call it character. Same thing, right? Same thing. Right. It's what you do when nobody's watching, right?
That's exactly right.
Will define who you are as a person.
Yep.
I think that's awesome. Let's go to bringing academia and industry to Azusa Pacific, man. You're mentoring future leaders while also facilitating strategic partnerships because you're so busy. I'm lucky I got you on this call today. What's the biggest gap you see between classroom leadership theory and real-world business leadership?
The practitionerness. I mean, we have 16 PhDs here at the School of Business and Management, and they're all brilliant people. 14 of the 16 went kindergarten through PhD and never worked. They're brilliant. They can teach a textbook. They can teach theory, but they've never been a practitioner. And I think that's also one of the reasons why a lot of the students, faculty, and staff have kind of clumbed onto me, is because I have a little bit of both. I have a lot of the practitioner. I've done what I'm teaching. And I know this is going to sound silly, but I took it a step further. So that I've got one book for wide publication, but
he wrote another book.
Actually two. I've written 2 textbooks. And this one here is called Entrepreneurship and Innovation. But while I love that, I love the tagline even better: from idea to revenue in 1 semester. And there are 16 chapters. If you literally, chapter 1, you want to start a business, chapter 1, do this. Chapter 2, by the end of 16 weeks, you literally are making money if you follow the guide.
Yeah.
And this was born out of, the dean handed me the syllabus of a class that had been taught in 2017. And she says, just update it, Steve. And it required a $119 textbook.
Yeah.
I bought the textbook and started going through it. Of the 22 chapters, there literally were 3 chapters that I thought were practical for today's world. Yeah. So I copied those 3 and then wrote my stuff around it, and I created this book.
That's amazing.
And this is the intersection of 37 years of practicing doing business and 2 years of actually being a professor.
Yeah.
And it just jives. I think there's two in this world today. Information is where's my phone? Information is just too easy. I mean, right here, whether it's AI, phone, Google, chat, Gronk, whatever it is, I can get any information.
Your wife came up on the screen.
What did?
Your wife came up on the screen.
Sorry about that.
I love it.
That's my screensaver. She will love that. But
you should be your screensavers.
That's right. But you get my point, right?
Yeah.
Actually doing the things, and the students, they come in and ask you. I over the last week and a half, I've met with 12 seniors for their capstone project.
Yeah.
And that's 12 students. I think there's 19 students in the capstone project. 12 of them have asked me for advice, because they know that the advice I'm going to give them is born from 37 years of practical experience.
Actually doing something.
Doing exactly. And I think that's where the big miss is in higher education. And let me tell you, not just at APU, at USC, at Harvard, there's lots of really smart academic people.
Yeah.
But what are you doing? What have you done?
Yeah.
And have you applied all that smart academicness to a real business?
Yeah.
And that's where the big separation is.
Awesome. That's excellent. And you know what I find in the teaching world is that you're legit when the people that have listened to you, have been in your classes, and they're no longer in your classes and have no longer no obligation to come and talk to you and everything. They reach out to you.
Yep.
Then you've probably done something right, or you had an impact on students, and that's amazing. You've often emphasized that leadership starts with habits and behaviors. What's one concrete daily habit you believe separates good leaders from great ones?
Return phone calls, return emails, return texts.
Yeah.
And it sounds simple, but you can be surprised the number of things that just go unanswered. Yeah. And the opposite of that too. When you do that, people start communicating more. And rather than, okay, Peter, I sent you an email, you didn't answer it. Now it's 5 days later. I'm sending it to you again to bring it to the top of your in basket. Yep. And we just lost 5 days.
Yep.
And I again, if I send an email and I want an answer from somebody and I expect it, I'll generally say, hey, Peter, I need to hear from you by Wednesday. And maybe it's Tuesday or maybe it's Monday. And I haven't heard you by Wednesday. This is what I'm going to do.
Yep.
So I try to
follow up.
Big time follow up. And you'd be surprised the number of people that don't. And I'm guilty of that sometimes too. Usually it's the 100 emails that I've received and it's fallen down to number 79 and I just haven't gotten that deep yet. Yeah, so when somebody sends me a note, hey, I'm resending this just to bring it to the top of your in basket. I dig that. I like that. But again, shoulda, woulda, coulda. There's too many leaders out there that just don't do that.
It's really funny. Follow up. I'm like you too. If I send something, just acknowledge that you got it. Don't just, well, he doesn't need it for 5 days, so fuck it. I'm not going to answer it for 5 days, man. Right. Just acknowledge that you got it and that you're working on it, and I'll be fine. But I'm like you. If I don't hear in like 24 hours, did you get it? Oh, did you get this?
Right.
That's not micromanagement. It's following up, which is totally different. Micromanagement, I'm telling you how to do your job. That's micromanagement, right?
That's right.
I'm following up because I kind of wanted an answer. And, when I talk at the beginning of a command, I will tell people that, look, if I send you an email asking you something and it's not due for 5 days, don't wait for 4.5 days before you answer the email. Just tell me you got it. And it takes you 2 seconds to go tracking, return, tracking, send, control, enter, send. That's all. Or else I'm going to sit there and go like, oh my God, did he get it? Did he get it? Where did it go? It might have gone to junk. So yeah, crazy stuff. So follow-up is super important and often confused with something else, which it's not. So, scaling early stage ventures. Many entrepreneurs hit the plateau. Did you hit a plateau, Steve, at some point?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, early stage startup. I'll go to my Action Footwear days. Well, that was a total startup. We raised almost $2 million to launch the brand. Yeah. And we sold almost 2,000 pairs our first 2 days, and we thought we were off to the races. And then COVID hit, and we thought that we were. My partner and I were going to be, very wealthy people, and life happens. You know,
And the virus said, hold on now.
that's right. Well, I'll put it in a monetary sense. So a typical 40-foot high cube container from Shenzhen, China, from Shenzhen to Port of LA would be $2,500. Yeah. During COVID, it went up to $40,000.
Yeah, you said that.
That's $8 a shoe. So what do you do? And raising extra capital, pivoting, doing things differently, speeding up, slowing down based on what you need. That's hitting plateaus is tough, but that's when you just got to sharpen the pencil, tighten the belt, and run a little harder, run a little faster, talk to more people. And again, this is going to sound cliche, but it's simple, but not easy.
But not easy. Yeah. I read Admiral McRaven's book, Wisdom from the Bullfrog, and he says that leadership is easy, but it's not simple. Leadership is simple,
not easy.
Not easy.
Because you use the big C, word, consistency. I've got to be consistent here. Yep. If I'm consistently performing it at 90%, at the end of the day, that's a lot better than going 30% to 130, right? A lot of times people run like crazy when the pressure's on, and then when the pressure's off, they're down at 30%. I'd rather be 70 to 90% output and just be really consistent, also using another McRaven. Oh no, this is actually Jocko Willink. One of my favorite phrases is
he's intense.
Fast and crash.
Yeah.
Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast.
Yeah. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's an old special operator saying. Yeah.
And I try to apply. So while I can be very emotional, I can have highs and lows. I force myself to be not mellow, but like perform at a consistently high level. Yeah. Taking in information, bad, good, or indifferent. And then as the CEO, I need to be able to calm the company's fears. And that was one of the conversations we had this morning with the Record team was, some of the teammates are a little up, they're ramping up. Leadership, we need to bring it down. Again, it goes back to the culture conversation. What does our culture say? Take care of yourselves. Let the people know they can take a remote day. They can take a day off. That's okay. Yeah. And rather than yelling and screaming that we're missing a deadline, plan for it. Plan, when we're on the topic of plateaus, when you hit a plateau, retool, reconvene, figure it out. People want to contribute in a good way. And I think a lot of times bad leaders, when business gets tough, you ultimately see their character because they're just not good people.
Yeah.
And I force myself to try, and I use the big P word, perspective. I try when shit hits the fan, I want to get perspective. I want to see what's going on everywhere.
Steve, it's interesting you said that. You really do see people's true character when they're under pressure, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
Yeah. When they're under pressure.
So true.
So this podcast is called Unbreakable Leadership, and we actually talk about failures. So I want to know one time where you were like, dude, I fucked up. How did you and I know there's probably been 37 of those things, of those times. I've had like 38, man. Anyway.
Oh yeah.
But tell me one time that sticks out in your mind that you actually teach kids about, because I teach all about, hey, I did this. It was wrong. Don't do this.
Right.
What's one thing that you teach your kids about to not do based on your experience and you actually making that mistake?
I really work hard both at the classroom level, at the professional level, at my children level. Anybody that I'm speaking to is, if we define ourselves by the failure we just had, I didn't run fast enough, I didn't jump high enough, I didn't get that report in on time, I missed. There was a gaping error in my report. If that's consistent, maybe you're just not a good worker, right? Maybe you just don't do good work. But the reality is, one-offs, get over it. I use the Michael Jordan analogy a lot. He didn't make the varsity basketball team the first time he tried out.
Yep, he did.
And he asked the coach, what can I do? And I love the coach's response. The coach says, Michael, I get to school at 6:30 every morning. I'll unlock the gym. That's all he said. He went into his office. Michael then he heard that. He had to get up at 6 to be at school by 6:30 to shoot 1,000 shots before the first bell rang.
Yep.
That's commitment. And he didn't make the varsity team because he wasn't good enough. And we all know the whole GOAT thing. Now, the best, greatest guy. But he could have said, yeah, I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock. You got to hit that snooze button. And when shit hits the fan, or when you're under the gun, you got to be able to answer the call. And it starts right here. Me, one person. Yep. I control me. I can't control the world. I control me. And if I got to get up early or stay up late to finish a report or whatever, because it's something that I failed on, dude, I've got to accept it. And ownership, I think, is the key. A lot of times people will want to point the finger. Well, I missed the report because, Peter, you didn't tell me it was due on Thursday.
Yeah.
Peter, you didn't fill in the blanks. And you. No, it's me. Yeah. The reality is, if it was due on Thursday and you signed it to me on Monday, I should have said, Peter, just so I'm clear, what time on Thursday? And would it be okay if I gave it to you on Wednesday? So I'm asking questions again, clarifying the situation. And I think a lot of times, especially, and I've seen this a lot with young up and comers, they will make the assumption that everything's clear and it's really not. Ask the dumb question. Ask the next question. Yeah. And then when you deliver it, if your boss is asking for 3 things, give them 4.
Yeah.
Just I've researched this. I've given you 4. You asked for 3. I've given you 4. That metaphorically, that could be applied to anything. Just do a little bit more than you're being asked to do. And I guarantee you do that consistently, you're going to get promoted. You get promoted, you make more money.
To put everything, what you just said, basically, I have a shirt that says, because you said, if you make a mistake, move on. Get past it, move on, right? Don't dwell on it because it's going to kill you in the end.
But with one key thing, own it.
Yeah. Jocko Willink talks about extreme ownership, right? And guess what? If you're Simba the lion, and this is from a class I teach, if you're Simba the lion and you're looking out at everything you own, guess what? Something happens out there, you fucking own it, right?
That's right.
You own it.
Yes.
Right? Don't point the fingers. It's not the window in the mirror. You've all heard the window in the mirror. Don't look at the mirror and say, yeah, look what I did. Look out the window. Give them praise. Likely, and conversely, if something messes up, look in the mirror and go, what did I do? What could I have done better to have avoided that situation? And what did I give my people that could have helped them, right? So the t-shirt that supports PTSD, right? It's called Till Valhalla Project. And the front of it says, keep moving forward, right? Keep moving forward is a great motto because on the back it says, crying is acceptable. Being hurt is acceptable. It says running into problems is acceptable. Quitting is unacceptable. Quitting is unacceptable. And that's very powerful for a PTSD, mantra to hold that, because quitting, then you just give up. But like you said, keep moving forward. If you a one-off mistake, we all make them. Don't dwell on it. Move forward, man. Just keep moving forward.
That's exactly right.
Forward. Talk to me about the Thrive method framework. The Thrive method framework from Harden Strategic Solutions. Come on, baby. You remember what that means?
No.
Teams, habits, revenue, identity, vision, and empowerment.
That's exactly right, Peter. When I came up with the Thrive method, and I wrote it in my book and wrote it on my website, I said, I've got to memorize that. And every time I go to my website and I see that, I'm going, I've got to memorize that. And I have, but
hey, you never do.
I need to. Let's not put that on the podcast.
That is so funny, man. That is so funny. We got to keep that, right?
Yeah.
If you could go back and give a 30-year-old Steve Harden one leadership truth, what would it be and why?
Sums up what we just talked about. Don't let poor leadership affect my mindset.
Yep. Don't
let poor leadership or lack of direction alter my course. And I'm going to use the red car theory, and I think I've shared that with you before. If we're looking for a red car, we're going to see a whole lot of red cars. But if we're not looking for red cars, and we could have seen 12, but we're going to say we saw 0 because we weren't looking for them. You the red car theory, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think oftentimes in my early career, I was waiting for leadership to be very specific, to be very goal oriented, and we had goals, but it was like we put them on a page, we'll put up on the wall, and then forget about them, and then at the end of the quarter, we're going to talk about where are we? And it's like we didn't talk about it for 90 days. I thought it was not important. I would say, but I've always been a voracious reader, and which is why I also love to write. I've always been the guy that says, if I've been given a task and I don't know about it before Google, before the cell phones, I'd go to the library and get a book. I'd go buy a book, and I would learn.
Leaders read.
Yeah, I would say if I had to give advice to my 30-year-old self is don't get out of your head when poor leadership is not doing the things they need to do.
Yeah.
And just lead through inferior leaders. And I was never a trash talker. It was never negative, but there were times when I wish I had said something, and I would bite my tongue. I think looking back, I would say be more vocal.
Okay.
Be vocal in a positive way. Like I'm unclear of what the expectation is, or I hear it's due Thursday, but what exactly are you looking for? I would ask more questions, and I would cripple myself, and I would just deliver what I thought I heard. I would deliver, and no, this is not what I'm looking for, Steve. Or my boss. I had the president CEO at Oakley, Ted Lee, wonderful human being. Yeah. But I would deliver something to him, and his pat line would be, and I have to also tell you, he's a Cal Berkeley MBA. That probably says it all. Steve, I need a deeper dive, more data. And I would do it like 3 times in a row. And he said, Steve, you've got an awesome grasp of business and selling and marketing, but I need more data. And it's like, dude, I've just given you 10 pieces. Take the 5 pieces that are, but what I should have done, again, looking backwards, I should have said, when he assigned me the project, I should have asked more questions for clarity's sake. So I can over deliver. Rather, his motto was, I'm just going to give you a topic, go research it, come back, and you're never going to ding all the bells. You're going to be a little bit short.
Yeah, I've worked for people like that too.
Well, have I told you the story about me in the same meeting where under delivered? He was asking for more data. I was 6 months into I was the VP of Sales and Marketing. He was the president and CEO, and I said, Ted, would you? Because he gave me my performance review at 6 months, and I said, may I give you a performance review? Have I told you that story? So using the exact same company format, I gave him he thought I was being sarcastic. I said, no, Ted, so I delivered a performance review, but the key was there were 5 deliverables that I needed him to do. And he was the kind of guy that would walk in at 9:15 in the morning and walk out at 3:30 to go to the gym. So if you add that up, he's been at the office for like 5.5 hours. Meanwhile, I'm working 12, 14 hours. And it's like, so I told him all that. I gave him 5 bullet points, what I and my team needed from him. And that was a game changer. And that's what got me promoted to senior VP at Oakley, was asking tough questions.
I like it. Now, asking tough questions. I like it, Steve. We got to wrap this up, but you have a chance to ask me a tough question. Well, ask me what you've always wanted to know about Peter Pollock.
Well, you had a very successful military career. Now you're in the business world, and now you're a consultant helping businesses. I'm curious, what's been the biggest learning curve for you between balancing military and business, and now you're doing you both? What's the biggest learning curve for you?
So military leadership is very different from corporate leadership, right? I should say that the other way around. Corporate leadership is very different from military leadership.
Right.
So what I saw in my 6 years of experience in the corporate world, comparing it to the military, and I know we've talked about this, but the corporate world tends to promote SMEs. They don't promote people who have the potential to be leaders. They promote SMEs, and for some reason, the corporate world sees that and equates promoting a SME to, hey, it's your next leader. He knows everything about this one thing he knows, right? So that's the biggest learning curve that I had to understand, was that the corporate world didn't look for people that they could mold into leaders, that they could send a professional development education, professional leadership education, or anything something like that. They said, you're friggin' really good at your job. You're really smart at your job. We'll make you the manager of these people. When good, the money comes with it, but the responsibility always, and they're not ready for that. I don't think they're ready for that, right? So I think the corporate world needs to do a much better job of identifying people who have potential leadership, right? Because I've said this on every single one of my podcasts, and people who are listening now are probably going to roll your eyes, but leaders know a little about a lot.
Fair.
SMEs know a lot about a little, right?
Yep. That's right.
You don't want a person that knows a lot about a little leading a team that is so expansive that you have to know 50 50 different things. You have to know enough to be dangerous. There's that saying, know enough to be dangerous. That's a real saying.
Yeah.
And people should listen to that, right? And leaders should actually know enough to be dangerous, I think. So they need to know a little about it a lot, right? So corporate world needs to do a better job of promoting people into leadership positions that, first of all, they want to actually lead.
Right.
And they have the capability to expand their horizons and not just stay stuck on this one silo and be really, really good at it, but not care about everything else. So I think that, Steve, that's what bothered me the most in the corporate world, is that I got frustrated, and, I really didn't care. And this is an honest to God statement. Being a retired senior officer in the military, I did not expect to go into the company that I went into. Oh yeah, he's a retired 06. Let's put him in charge of 1,000 people. No, I just want a damn paycheck, man. I'd be done with leading. I'm good, man. Let me just help people, right?
Yep.
But that's not what happened. I mean, first of all, they hired me as a project manager, which is great. I was enjoying doing it. But then I saw them promoting these people who were absolutely inept at leadership. And just like you talked about, your bosses. So I'm not going to tell you how many bosses okay, I won't. Let's finish this. In the corporate world, I did not work for anyone that I thought, wow, this is a person that I would want to work for again. So I think that was, and I think that prompted me to look at myself and go, you know what? I can go out and help people be better leaders. I don't need to sit at a desk 8, 10, 12 hours a day and basically do nothing. Because when you give them feedback, they don't want to listen either, right? So that's the frustrating part, is like, a couple of them came to me and said, what would you do in this situation? I totally respected that. But I had a lot more to offer, right?
Yep.
Anyway. All right, we're going to wrap this up. We've been here 46 minutes. Steve, I have absolutely enjoyed the conversation. Do you have a final lesson you want to leave everyone with? Just final blurb.
I think that the single biggest thing I have is you control your destiny.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times people will say, well, it was a situation, it was a bad boss, it was a bad team. I've inherited some dysfunctional teams throughout my career. I've usually been recruited into a brand because the national account team is not performing, or the sales team is not ringing the bell enough. And I love that, because I am a fixer. But I would challenge every student I teach, every person that reports to me, and including anybody that's above me, is be crystal clear. Work really hard on being as clear as possible. So if that's if we can identify what our North Star is, and these are the 3 rungs we have to go through, identify that, talk about that, measure it every day, every week, talk about it. That way, again, I'm going to come back to the culture thing. If you have high expectations, you talk about your high expectations and how to get there. And then here's the other thing too, saddling up next to somebody that maybe is not delivering 100%, but saddling up and helping them get over the hurdle. Oh my God, that builds the culture. People see that, they want to do more. And that's probably my single biggest hope for anybody, is own your expectation, do more than you're asked to do, and share. Again, I'm gonna use a servant. I know that you don't like the word term servant leader, but be a servant leader. Serve your team, help them.
Yep.
And I think that would help more than anything.
No, I agree with you, and I think that's fantastic too. And this is my little rant that I'll end this on, but people don't understand that they have to take care of themselves, because there's so much noise out there right now with social media and stuff. We could go down that path. We could have another 50-minute conversation about social media and the damaging effects that it has. But just listen to yourself. You have to do. Nobody else is going to come and do it for you.
That's right.
And you have to listen to all the hate out there, all the naysayers. And there's a lot of that trash out there, right?
Absolutely.
It's all noise. 95% of what's on the internet is noise, or what's on social media, I think, is noise.
I agree.
It needs to be blocked out and ignored.
Yep.
Just take care of yourself.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Thanks for tuning in to Unbreakable Leadership. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to follow and share it with a fellow leader. Remember, leadership is about action, growth, and staying true to who you are. I'll catch you next time for more real-world lessons. Until then, keep leading well. Strength and honor.